Well, Jenna, you are partially correct. The reason we do a ladder is because the gaps, the rung difference between the players is not done randomly. It's to show the separation between them. Because right now, through 2 games, not a lot of great candidates. Coming in number 5 on the MVP ladder, sweet Christ, Andrew Wiggins.
Okay.
Brew?
Yeah!
Listen.
Yeah!
Listen, man. You know I believe in basketball gods. If Andrew Wiggins, if the Warriors win the finals, which will then make me flipping on them all the more painful, and they win the finals with Andrew Wiggins winning finals MVP, I'm going to have that moment the guy in the Twilight Zone episode had when he was at a casino and just kept winning every single bet he couldn't lose, and then he slowly realized, wait, I'm in hell. I'm going to realize the basketball gods have put me in basketball hell. So I'm just letting you know that is on the board. Number 4, Al Horford. Shooting a nice, tidy 63% from the field, helped greatly by the fact he did not shoot hardly at all in Game 2. Like I said, hard to fill out this ladder. He would, however, be the sentimental favorite. Then there's a big gap. Number 3, Jaylen Brown. Right now, Jaylen Brown is 8-1. I told you before the finals, he was a smart bet at 10-1. I'm going to tell you right now, quietly, whisper it, because I might try to get more money down after this segment. I think Jaylen Brown's going to win finals MVP. He would be my bet to win it. But right now he's in third. He was 1 of 11 after the first quarter in Game 2, so we need to bounce back in. Number 2 is obviously Tatum. Now, I understand Kevin Wildes is very disappointed that Jayson Tatum is not having the Wilt Chamberlain 1962 season where he averaged 50 points, 26 rebounds on 48 minutes per game. He's not doing that. However, his raw numbers are not terrible. His shooting percentage is obviously terrible because of 3 for 17. Here's what's working against Tatum. He cannot afford one more awful game. You're only allowed to have 2 awful games and win finals MVP if you're Kawhi Leonard and you hold LeBron James to 60% shooting on 30 points per game. Otherwise, not allowed. Or I guess Andre Iguodala and you hold LeBron James to 36, 13, and 9. Usually, you can't have 2 bad games win finals MVP. Tatum's use is up. Number 1's obviously Steph Curry. He's been the best player in the finals so far. And Brew, I know what you're thinking, Nick, but you're picking the Celtics. I will stay consistent with this, even though part of this will really grind my gears, as they say. If Steph, after being the first unanimous MVP ever, when LeBron should have been unanimous in 2013, if Steph is the first modern player on a losing team to win finals MVP, but that's on the board. It's on the board that Steph continues to average around 32 per game, that there is no Celtic that distinguishes themselves as the outstanding player. It's more of a collective effort, and that Steph deserves this finals MVP in a losing effort if this thing goes 6 or 7. There's your current MVP ladder. I think everyone agrees right now Steph's the leader.
Okay, first of all, love that you got Wiggins on there. You're coming around, my friend. You are coming around.
I'm not coming around. I'm just
all right,
a
secondly, well, look, I think I got to put Brown ahead of Tatum. I got to switch them. You got them right in that they're close. But look, Jaylen Brown has more points, more rebounds, better field goal percentage, and his big game was impactful in that they won. A great comeback. Everybody talking about Derek White and Horford with the threes. You saw who started that comeback, and it was Jaylen Brown. So I would have switched him and Tatum. But to your Steph point. All right, first of all, Nick, I am not like an absolute 100% stickler for there's no way a guy can ever win it on a losing team, right? I mean, if it's a 7, it has to be, it has to be like a 7-game series. It has to be, the guy has to be phenomenal, not just great. He has to be like incredible. And then no one on the winning team would distinguish themselves. Like they all kind of play the same and they're all just pretty good. That's like the only situation that I would even really strongly consider it. And I don't think we're in that situation. Steph is playing well. There's no doubt. I thought he was great, as I said yesterday, in game 2. But game 1, he went scoreless in the last 6 minutes as his team's being outscored 20-5. He's shooting 45% from the field. He's certainly the best player in the series and has been to this point, but he hasn't been so great that I would say in a losing effort, he should be the MVP. And secondly, to your point, let me stick up for LeBron James. You said it, Nick. You are big on precedent, right? When it came to all NBA voting, you were like, no, you can't have 2 centers. Absolutely not. The precedent's been set with Kareem and Olajuwon and Shaq and all those guys. And it's a good point. Even though I didn't listen to it, it's a good point. And then you had the same thing with the MVP. You didn't like Jokic being back-to-back just because of the history. So now, I agree. Look, if Steph were to get the finals MVP and they lost this year,
my goodness,
it just wouldn't be fair. It just wouldn't be fair. LeBron obviously would have an argument from 2015. Some other players might have arguments. But LeBron would have been like, look, I should have been the unanimous MVP in 2013. My man Gary Washburn. Shout out Gary.
Forget it.
Yeah, shout out.
Not
That's my man.
Shout
for Carmelo.
down.
He voted for Carmelo
Shout in.
Anthony. All right. But and LeBron shouldn't have been the first, right? Let's face it, there could have been other unanimous MVPs before that. But LeBron could say, man, he would think it's favoritism. They giving this little light-skinned dude the unanimous MVP before me. They're giving him the finals MVP when I could have got it a few years ago. Yeah. So no, Nick, the precedent's been set. Barring something incredible or crazy, the finals MVP has to come from the winning team.
From the winning
Just very interesting. I see Wilds. I see a little crack in Broussard because Bruce said one player's got to be outstanding. No one else has to distinguish themselves. It has to go 7 games. Sounds like Jimmy Butler in the Eastern Conference Finals when I said he should have been Finals MVP, and Brew was just apoplectic.
No, he had 3 bad games.
Something to think about. But he had 4 great ones. He had 4 great ones. All right, Wilds, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Wilds.
And Tatum was great.
Let me address this losing Finals MVP thing. I do not care if Steph Curry averages 100 points from here on out. Literally averages 100 points.
Well, that sounds
and the
smart.
Warriors lose. You cannot give him Finals MVP. And here's just my metaphor that you will, after I say this, you'll be like, meh, right again, Wilds. If you went to the best restaurant in the world, have the bread, this is the best bread I've ever tasted. You have your appetizer, oh my God, this is the best appetizer I've ever tasted. You have your main course, best main course you've ever had in your life. It's the best restaurant in the world, 100 points a game. And then finally, here comes the gelato. Oh, it's just gonna be the final palate cleansing gelato. And you have a scoop, and then you're like, what's that? And you pull a long hair out of your mouth.
No.
That's the finals loss. The meal is ruined. It doesn't matter what happened. That long hair, it's gross.
No.
Jenna, I'm sorry, but I had to go. We're saying ridiculous things. I had to bring the point.
It's a terrible metaphor.
Sorry, but it's true.
And I want to let you make your point.
Awful.
But Wilds, that's not the analogy. The analogy is you have this amazing meal. Because the restaurant is Steph Curry in this. It would have been the restaurant's fault that you had the hair in your food. So the analogy is you have this amazing meal, all those things, and then at the end of the meal, someone comes in and robs the place. And you're like, man, that kind of ruined the night. It's not the restaurant's fault. Unless you're going to say you should have had better security. That's the guy's fault. You can't put in your review, unbelievable beef Wellington. However, unfortunately, I was stuck, giving a deposition all night. That's not their fault. That's a bad. Run these analogies by Colin. Listen, all of us that do analogies.
I'm stuck in a freezer with duct tape around my mouth. It wasn't a great meal. In any event, Draymond needs to be on here. Okay? Draymond needs to be on. 2 of the last 7 Finals MVPs have been kind of eye test MVPs. Kawhi with the Spurs and Andre Iguodala. You know what? Controlled the game more than the stats kind of showed. Now Draymond's averaging 6, 8, and 6. I don't think that's going to get the job done.
Mr. Triple
But I
Single.
think that he obviously was the story in Game 2.
Triple
Threw the
single.
entire team off by getting into literally every single guy's head. So I think Draymond deserves a spot. He's about one sort of like analytics paper that someone figures out how the team is playing well when Draymond, tackles Grant Williams. Every tackle, the Celtics lose 5 points. If you can get a little bit of eye test and a little bit of analytics, and you got Draymond's media savvy on top, deserves a spot on the ladder.
Listen, Bruce Wright that I'm big on precedent. The NBA has set the precedent. In modern NBA history, you can only win finals MVP averaging less than 18 points per game if you do it while holding LeBron to under 38 points per game. That's the only way. LeBron's not in the series. The only way you can have enough of an impact on defense, like, well, he did hold LeBron to 35 and 10, so I guess he was the most impactful guy. There's not a guy on Boston like that, so Draymond's not going to be able to win.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.